They say fear is a powerful weapon, but in the Soviet Union during World War II, it was a way of life. Imagine serving in the Red Army, knowing that every word you spoke and every decision you made was scrutinized by an ideological enforcer. Political commissars were the ultimate guardians of communist loyalty within the Red Army, but their power came at a deadly cost. First from Stalin's paranoia, then from Hitler's ruthless Commissar Order. In this episode, we explore the rise and fall of Soviet political commissars, who became targets of both Stalin's purges and Hitler's extermination policies. Their story is a reminder of how ideology and paranoia can collide with devastating consequences. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with historical events like this. After the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917, the Red Army was in chaos. To ensure absolute loyalty to the Communist Party, Lenin introduced political commissars. These were not just military officers, they were ideological enforcers, tasked with monitoring the loyalty of soldiers and commanders alike. They held the power to override military decisions, ensuring that every action aligned with Bolshevik principles. By the 1930s, commissars were deeply embedded in the Red Army, wielding immense influence over both strategy and morale. The role of the commissar extended beyond mere oversight. They conducted political education sessions, reinforcing communist ideology among the troops. Through regular discussions and literature distribution, they sought to shape soldiers into not just warriors, but dedicated party members. This ideological molding was seen as crucial in preventing defections and maintaining unity in the ranks. In the early days of the Soviet Union, the Red Army implemented a unique structure known as the dual command system. The framework paired military officers with political commissars, each holding equal authority. While military commanders focused on strategy and battlefield tactics, commissars were responsible for political education and ensuring loyalty to the Communist Party. This setup often led to tensions, as commissars held the power to veto decisions made by military leaders, creating a system of checks and balances that could breed mistrust. The commissar system was born out of necessity during the Russian Civil War. The Red Army was plagued by desertion and disloyalty. Commissars were tasked with ensuring that soldiers remained committed to the Bolshevik cause. They were often seen as the eyes and ears of the party, reporting back on any signs of dissent or counter-revolutionary activity. Leon Trotsky, a prominent Bolshevik leader, was instrumental in establishing this system. As the People's Commissar for Military and Naval Affairs, Trotsky faced the daunting task of building a new Red Army from the remnants of the old Russian forces. He introduced political commissars to ensure the army remained aligned with Soviet ideals and to prevent any isolation from the broader Soviet system. Trotsky emphasized that the presence of commissars would deter conspiracies and keep military institutions loyal to the workers and peasants. But as Stalin consolidated power, no one was safe, not even the commissars. During the Great Purge of the late 1930s, Stalin's paranoia turned inward. Thousands of commissars were accused of treason, espionage, or ideological deviation. Many were executed outright, while others were sent to the Gulag, where they faced brutal conditions and almost certain death. Be sure to check out our previous videos to learn more about soldiers' experiences in the Gulag. The Great Purge decimated the Red Army's leadership, leaving it ill-prepared for the coming war with Nazi Germany. The dual command system wasn't without its dark chapters. One of the most notable cases is the execution of Marshal Mikhail Tukhachevsky, a highly respected and innovative military leader. In 1937, during Stalin's Great Purge, Tukhachevsky was falsely accused of conspiring with Nazi Germany. Despite his loyalty, he was arrested, tortured, and executed. This event exemplified Stalin's readiness to eliminate even the most dedicated and capable leaders. It also fostered an atmosphere of fear and suspicion within the military ranks. The impact of these purges was catastrophic. With many experienced commanders and commissars removed, the Red Army struggled to mount an effective defense against the German invasion in 1941. Junior officers, suddenly promoted to fill the gaps, often lacked the necessary experience to lead in battle. This leadership vacuum contributed to some of the most devastating Soviet defeats in the early months of the war. The purges were not just about eliminating potential threats, they were also a way for Stalin to assert absolute control. By targeting commissars, Stalin sent a clear message. No one was above suspicion. The pervasive mistrust didn't stop at the top. Soldiers and officers alike lived under the constant threat of denunciation. The presence of commissars who monitored not only political loyalty but also personal behavior meant that any misstep could lead to severe punishment. This climate of paranoia severely undermined morale and efficiency, as individuals were more focused on self-preservation than on cohesive military strategy. When Operation Barbarossa began in 1941, Hitler issued the infamous Commissar Order. This directive declared that all captured Soviet commissars were to be executed immediately, without trial. Hitler saw them as dangerous ideologues who could inspire resistance among Soviet troops. The Wehrmacht carried out this order with brutal efficiency, often shooting commissars on the spot or handing them over to the SS for execution. Commissars were easily identifiable by their distinctive uniforms and the political literature they carried. Many toted copies of Lenin's works or communist pamphlets, symbols of their ideological commitment. However, these markers also made them prime targets during conflicts. For instance, during World War II, Nazi execution squads specifically sought out commissars for elimination, viewing them as the embodiment of Soviet political resistance. The Commissar Order was part of Hitler's broader plan to wage a war of annihilation against the Soviet Union. By targeting commissars, the Nazis aimed to decapitate the Red Army's ideological leadership and demoralize Soviet troops. It read, "The originators of barbaric, Asiatic methods of warfare are the political commissars. Therefore, when captured either in battle or offering resistance, they are to be shot on principle." However, this policy often had the opposite effect, galvanizing resistance and reinforcing the Soviet will to fight. On the opposing side, German soldiers faced their own moral dilemma. The Commissar Order mandated the execution of any captured commissars. While many Wehrmacht soldiers followed this directive, there were instances where individuals refused, grappling with the ethical implications. Unfortunately, dissent was rare and often met with severe punishment. Nevertheless, a majority of German units, an estimated 85%, executed political commissars as directed. The exact number of prisoners killed is unclear, but it's likely that German forces executed at least 10,000 political commissars. The OKW revoked the Commissar Order less than a year after the invasion of the Soviet Union. However, the first 8 months of the war saw the highest rate of fatalities among Soviet POWs. More than 2 million died between June 1941 and February 1942. Despite their unpopularity among some soldiers, many commissars proved their worth on the battlefield. They often led charges, rallied troops, and even took up arms themselves. Some became martyrs, and their deaths were used as propaganda to inspire Soviet resistance. Yet their dual role as both fighters and enforcers made them targets, not just for the Nazis, but also for their own men, who sometimes resented their ideological oversight. Nikolai Krylov, for example, played a pivotal role in the defense of Stalingrad, demonstrating exceptional leadership and bravery. Similarly, Vasily Zaitsev, renowned as a skilled sniper, also served as a political officer, blending military prowess with ideological commitment. Their stories underscore the multifaceted roles commissars played on the front lines. The commissar's role was a double-edged sword. On one hand, they were instrumental in maintaining discipline and morale. On the other, their presence often created tension within the ranks, as soldiers chafed under their ideological scrutiny. This tension was particularly acute during the early years of the war, when the Red Army suffered devastating losses. As the war progressed, the commissar system underwent significant changes, recognizing the need for more streamlined command structures in the face of relentless combat. Some commissars were granted increased military responsibilities. This evolution reflected the Red Army's adaptation to the harsh realities of war, balancing political oversight with operational efficiency. After World War II, the role of the political commissar was significantly reduced. Stalin, wary of their influence, phased out the dual command system. Many surviving commissars were reassigned to civilian roles or quietly retired. Some even faced renewed persecution during Stalin's later purges. By the Cold War, the Commissar had become a relic of the past, its legacy overshadowed by the broader narrative of Soviet victory. Stalin's trials successfully eliminated major political rivals and critics. The trials were the public aspect of the widespread purge that sent millions of alleged enemies of the people to prison camps or outright execution. The impact of the Commissar system extended beyond the Soviet Union. Other communist regimes, notably China, adopted similar structures. In the People's Liberation Army, or PLA, political officers played crucial roles during the Korean War and in subsequent conflicts, ensuring that military actions remained aligned with party directives. This practice continues in various forms, highlighting the enduring legacy of the Commissar model in communist military organizations. The story of the Soviet political commissars is a stark reminder of how ideology and paranoia can intersect with devastating consequences. They were both perpetrators and victims, caught in the crossfire of Stalin's purges and Hitler's extermination policies. Their legacy serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of absolute power and the human cost of ideological warfare. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time as we uncover more hidden stories from history.